कैसे हो सारे बताओ। हेलो गाइस, हेलो, कैसे हो सारे, हेलो। अभी अभी S8UL को हारते हुए देख के आया हूँ, मूड खराब है एकदम से। ठीक है, अभी अपने लौंडे फिर से पीटिया बनाना शुरू करेंगे। ठीक है, ठीक है। सही है, चलो आज करते हैं एपेक्स लेजेंड्स। होप S8UL ये वाला शायद ही जीत जाए। आई एम होपिंग कि कंटेंडर अच्छी है तो जीत जाएगी। ठीक है, सो आई एम होपफुल कि जीत जाए, मज़ा आ जाएंगे एकदम से। ठीक है, चलते हैं स्क्रीन पे, आप लोग भी टाइम वेस्ट ना करो। लेट्स स्टार्ट।
Esports! They are aflow! Bafafik and Gotka! Kinetro Gaming! They are Vols, Pero and Cannon! ROC Esports! They are Deeds, Sorcerer and Vaxlon! Team Falcons! They are Zero, Waltzy and Imperial Howl! TSM! They are Panic, Duplex and Gent!
और नहीं हो पाएगा शायद, 720p देखना पड़ेगा।
And finally, Alliance! They are Unlucky, Effect and Hackis! The journey has been merciless. The finish line is in sight, and it is time to claim your place in history. It is time for the match point finals.
Every time there's a finals day, it's do or die. It's the end game. It's where you really start to prove yourself. Making finals is all well and good, but performing in finals is a whole different ballgame. It'd be amazing to bring a title back to APAC South. We've done it before, and I definitely believe we can do it again.
We lost the tiebreaker to Falcons in Pro League. It's always in the back of my head, but I try not to let past things determine my future. We're just focused on the present and winning the finals.
แล้วก็ความรู้สึกก็โล่งใจครับที่ได้เข้าไฟนอลเพราะตอนแรกก็ทำท่าจะตกแหล่ไม่ตกแหล่อยู่
Oh my god, the shots coming in from the R9! Rival Esports will close it out!
ได้เข้าไฟนอลได้อย่างที่หวังครับก็รู้สึกมีความสุขครับ
Missing out on the ALGS Open Finals by 1 point is truly devastating. Actually making it actually feels good, especially the first try. I want to prove that we can be up there at the top with like Alliance and Falcons.
Last year I was pretty confident as well. I knew we were gonna win. But this year I feel like we're gonna do even better. We're gonna finish it in 4 years. We're gonna prove our haters that they're wrong.
Back, he's jumping around like a spider monkey, and he doesn't know what to do. The shield swap, is it enough? Alliance
Everyone's on that Alliance train right now, even though we won the last tournament. Personally, I feel pretty pissed off when I hear everyone starts to think that the best team in the world, not only me, but my entire team wants to shut that down. And yeah, they did well in group stages, but we'll be in the lobby now with them in finals. I want to prove everyone wrong that we're actually the best team in the world.
It is finally time to start our mid-season playoffs, grand finals here, match point finals. As you heard it there, how upset with everyone who thinks that Falcons are on top, and here's where they have to prove it. I'm Vicky Kitty, I'm joined with Jamerson, and we're here to open up the epic victory, the epic journey for these teams.
Vicky, there are 18 teams in the lobby shooting for that championship, but 2 teams right now, in Alliance and Falcons, whose only goal is to prove that they are the best in the world. Hal mentioned it. Alliance, we're in a different group. This time around, though, we have the most stacked lobby at LAN we have seen for match point finals.
Alliance fans cheering on right behind them. Everyone has been behind Alliance with their insane performance, their consistent performance, which needs to be highlighted because match point format isn't the same as we've seen throughout the course of the tournament. We've played out through our pools, we've played out through our last chance fights for a lot of these teams. But here in match point format, you need to hit 50 points. Once you hit 50 points, you then have to win a game to be considered your mid-season playoff champions. You have to have that consistency. You have to find yourself getting that dub. You could get it beforehand, but you need to hit match point first.
And our last match point finals at LAN, it was, of course, Team Falcons taking the victory in 6 in such a surprising way. But so much has changed along the way here at the end of Split 1. After the introductions of the Legend Bands, after the introductions of more maps into the pool, and also we took out World's Edge for a little bit there, but now our teams have had time to adjust, really learn more and dig deeper into their skill sets, particularly being able to isolate out teams and know which teams are what now in the malaise that is the Apex Legends battlefield. It's so difficult to be able to identify which squad is running what composition, but here in the beginning, it should be a little bit easier with a lot of teams running similar mirror compositions. But once we get down into the trenches, into Game 7, Game 8, Game 9, forbid we go to 13, what kind of composition will we see? We don't have that kind of data, neither do any of our other squads.
Well, everyone gets ready here to highlight some of these stakes. What we've seen thus far, the storylines, from appendixes getting removed, making the dub here, 100 Thieves putting on a performance for us, players that have been able to bring out their families to see them perform here at EWC, fans rallying together, lighting up the crowd in green here. Alliance fans, they do it. They're some of the best fans that we see following their team, no matter where we go in our international global stage here in the ALGS.
Since their first LAN win last year, Vicky, their consistency when it comes to match point finals is unmatched. With how often they have come in second place and so close, well within reach of being able to get an ALGS LAN final win. Will this be their opportunity now?
As we take a look at Team Liquid 2, we saw what they did just yesterday. Their coach, Stresado, right behind them. This is a team that, when it matters the most, when they're on the line, they manage to pull it off. They manage to find themselves in these final lobbies after making some adjustments here and making sure everybody is set up and ready to go. We have the energy. Vamos Liquid with the jersey here too. We saw Jen Burden's dad earlier in the crowd. VKG. So many of our fans coming from all around the world to cheer on their favorite team.
That's right, for Team Liquid Alienware coming out from last chance games yesterday. It was game number 7 where they were able to turn it around. A second place finish on that Jurassic ending Unstorm point, and then they get that well-earned victory over at Geyser. And things couldn't have gone any better for them after that. They were able to complete it all out, keep themselves alive, even though it was a scary finish to the end there in the last chance.
Making it into this lobby alone in a $2 million prize pool. First place walks away with $600,000. I like the energy. 1v1 me. Where are you at here?
You got plenty of setups. It's
Right?
the Esports World Cup.
Pull
There's
up.
plenty of opportunities for us to do this. Now, plenty of fans as well. Wolves, another representative coming out from APAC South, a region that has been coming out swinging. 5 out of the 8 representatives were able to make it here into the match point finals. 4 of those teams doing it by winning in their pool play and securing a spot here very early on. And of course, one more had to secure their spot. But we also have to mention a team when we talk about LAN that we're so used to seeing in the match point finals, Algets. Unfortunately missed out by about 9 points in that tight grouping pack in the middle for that top 6 spots. But they have plenty of APAC South representatives to try and make them proud.
Cutthroat competition within that last lobby. Literally a 1-point difference meant for teams to make it in here into this lobby. Probably the most stacked lobby, by the way, that we have ever seen at a match point finals, at a LAN here, to compete, to raise that trophy, send everybody to the crusher. And that's why I keep putting the highlight over on this prize pool. You're not only fighting for glory, you're fighting for that money. Fill up your pockets here. Alliance also want to get that 2nd title in a row, and this has more emphasis in the fact that this is part of our mid-season playoffs. Alliance has yet to take a win in the ALGS. This would matter so much here for Alliance.
And for those who are joining us a little bit late here for the EWC, for the mid-season finals of ALGS Split 1, that man right there, I think I saw one of the best tweets. That appendix in him? Nah. That dog in him? Yes. Phony. Ended up, of course, coming down with appendicitis out of nowhere, had emergency surgery. Next day, he is straight into group play. We didn't know how many games he would play, if at all. We were thinking maybe he gets in 5. Bronzy comes in to finish out the series. No, he stays in it, gets all 10 games in, but he also gets the first win of the day, and I believe also bookended with the last win as well. So, Phony, despite having to go through surgery, I don't know how invasive, an appendectomy is. It's still a surgery. You're still on some meds. It is not your usual, oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit down and play Apex for a few hours, guys. He had surgery coming into that one.
Yeah, dude, it literally appendix legends, right? Like, that's what Onset said earlier. Like, I was cracking up in the back. Dude, that was some aura farming potential right there for 100 Thieves. As Yuka, another player to highlight, Fnatic making their way here into this match point finals lobby too.
Yeah, this is, again, like we were talking about, Vicky, the most stacked lobby. Representatives from every LAN winning team in the last year are here, along with so many of our consistent teams. VK Gaming, another one that we do have to mention as we are on board with them. QQ showing up. They are one of those silent teams, right? They are successful, they get wins, but they don't do it always in the biggest in the finals lobby, and not just be here, but have an impactful role when it comes to it. They know how to fight in the early game. They know how to fight in the mid game. They run into the zone fairly early on, play off of a lot of priority, but they are proactive in their positions.
And we're looking at NIP. You talk about being proactive. Kurav in that first pool we saw with 21 kills. NIP were so consistent. Right behind him was Vayne with 20 kills and McLovin with 19 kills. Raven having a lot of accolades under his belt, showing consistency no matter the team.
And importantly for NIP here in this series, Vicky, we are going to be playing all 4 maps once again, but we are starting off on E District, which is where NIP picked up the majority of their points, and which is why they also were able to pick up draft point for themselves.
Yeah, they got that mezzo, right? You know, you gotta highlight that here. Raven getting set up behind the rest of the team. I really like, You know, you talk about their POI and how they lean into those strengths here too. Tactically, they're going to be landing, I believe, on E District close to Team Liquid too. So that's going to be a little check mark to follow once we get into the game.
Yeah, dropping off at Lotus on the north side, like you had mentioned, next to Team Liquid over there by Electro Dam. But the wins that they were able to get over there on Draft Point on Electro Dam, or excuse me, yeah, by Electro Dam was fantastic.
Okay, we are getting ready now, everybody. Everyone's loaded into the lobby. Thank you for your patience. Let's get this started. We're here, we're ready to go, and we're ready to start off our finals. First game. As Jamerson mentioned, we are going into E District. It's a snake draft here too, of course. We're gonna have E District, World's Edge, Broken Moon, Storm Point, and then we go right back around here into Broken Moon, World's Edge, E District, and then World's Edge again. Make sure you guys tweet at us. Let us know which team you want to win. How many games do you expect it to go? Jamerson, I'm putting you on the spot right now. What team do you think is going to take it? How many games are going to take to go?
I'm going to go with Alliance in 5. If Alliance do not do it in 5, it will be Falcons in 7. I believe we see that teams put a lot of thought and emphasis on our map draft. Taking a look at Alliance, our first seed coming into this one. This was a 3rd pick for them, and that's kind of fortunate because this is, again, Alliance, a squad that commands respect on other maps, and so they're allowed to let their 4th pick of Storm Point and still secure themselves Trident throughout that. And so because of that, they get that pick on E District in 3rd, and still a pretty decent spot.
Alliance specifically, over the few games that they have been able to play on E District, those dominating games at that, have been the team to get the most points thus far in this entire lobby on E District specifically. And that's with some teams playing even more games on E District versus Alliance, who only had to play through pools and not the last chance qualifier. That was with them securing 22 points, the highest that we have seen on E District.
Yeah, and for Alliance, coming out from Shipyard, they're going to look at history just a little bit, right? The 7 times that we ended up playing on E District, well, we've got 3 energy bank circles, 2 of them going toward that southern side.
Let's get this going, everyone. I love this stage. Huge screens as a flyby happens on E District to kick off our match point finals within our mid-season playoff of the ALGS. We're going global here as we get to see Alliance Falcons, who will rise to the top. Love E District. I love the incorporation of these legend bands and what that means, because we've been seeing Alter be that legend to always be the first to go out.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a little bit tired of the legend meta, just wait a game. Just wait a game, because someone's going to get banned out, and all of a sudden it gets open wide in terms of legend compositions, legends picked. Teams divert pretty early on, but in particular, we do need to note the crypto. We saw some hyper-accelerated ban rates coming out from him. In Group A, he did escape the bans. In Group B, he ended up getting banned around Game 5, Game number 6. But in the LCQ, it was Game number 3 where he was banned out.
And looking at this already, look at the amount of Watsons. It's going to be Watson as the first legend gone on E District for this first game. How crazy is it that that season patch here going into the ALGS for mid-season playoffs has significantly changed the Watson pick rate?
Heading into the match point finals, Alter was leading in terms of ban priority, but now with this first ban onto Watson and the strength that she provides, it is no question why. We saw the biggest of buffs coming out to her entire kits, as we got 100 Thieves first on the move right now over here at Energy Bank. Be able to secure this ring console for us eventually. Oh, they do actually already have it, and it's going to be pulling up north to Lotus, and we were talking about a team that converts so extremely well here on E District, Vicky, and it's NIP getting that pull up toward Lotus.
Oh, they're going to be feasting out here. They're also going to get the memo once they start seeing other teams rotate, because they're not the only ones here that have to look around, because Gen G have now made their appearance. Team Liquid that exit out of Electro Dam have a ring console to that south side of Electro Dam, so they got that scan already quickly rotated. Same thing for Rival Esports, Sentinels, and Wolf Esports too. It's getting hot here as NIP have already lost out on Vayne. That's Dexter picking up the first kill within our match point finals game 1.
They're going to try and make their way out of Lotus here, but so many teams have already shown up. Wolves Esports, Rivals as well. NIP looking to see if they have a mobile respawn beacon, and they do in the hands of McLovin. So they will have an opportunity to get him right back on in without too much pressure applied. The difficulty is once that mobile respawn beacon goes down, once you plug him in, all these altars will be able to jump right on top of you.
Yeah, you want your crypto player to stay alive to then remotely get that res instead. So that's not going to be the case for them since they lost out on that crypto player here. Let's see if we can make the magic happen, because it's already looking congested up here. We know over by Lotus that there's a lot of space to coexist, and it's like an altar playground to feast from. Phony taking a lot of damage, 100 Thieves playing off the low ground.
Yeah, one member of Gen G ends up going down here. NIP get a little bit of revenge as they plug Vayne back on in. So they trade kill for kill, but Asia might be the next one to go down. Gen G, our first place team out of that last chance, almost knocked out here in game number 1.
Served on a silver platter in the line of sight of 100 Thieves who walk in, pick that up. They were in some trouble, specifically Gen G. They were running from that team on the outskirts. We saw NIP Curve also taking some damage there on the other side of that building. 100 Thieves have been able to now find that building secured. Newcastle Wall in that corner. We get to see the highlight here too. What happened with Gen G before, as Ninjas of Pajamas aren't going to be moving from this spot. They do have the Fusey, they do have the crypto, they have the information. Kirov now looking behind him, he's with the bow check in hand.
The difficulty about trying to hold this level of the building is just that there are so many different walls that you have to cover, right? The angles that you have to cover might be a little bit too much to handle. So unless your team is on it at all points, maybe try to retreat into a smaller spot. E36 have worked their way on in. Rival Esports, we're looking for an opportunity to try and pepper them, but Enterforce should be able to set up with the Watson. For Rival Esports, though, just holding it all down. They've got a good setup with these Watson traps. Enterforce 36 inside this little tunnel should be relatively safe. They've got the other buildings around them that will basically play a barrier around them, and they should be a team that can convert this into a top 5 position.
55% of this lobby, by the way, is rocking the Altar, Crypto, and the Watson. So you know these EMPs are going to delete these Watson defenses, since 90% of the lobby is running the Watson within those compositions, as Fnatic involved in a fight. We were talking about Fnatic earlier before. I believe they had finished Group A in 3rd place overall. Looking at Jen Burden, 100 Thieves still settled in the middle of that building, eating out a nade, trying to see if they could get that kidnap on the altar, but it's going to be mostly a standoff here.
Yeah, one thing to note with that interaction between the Crypto and the Watson, the simple fact that the Watson gets her nodes back so much faster now, it's not as big of a, as a detrimental thing, right? As long as you have 3 charges of your nodes up and ready. Dude. Nice little spam there from Jet Burn, but can they follow up on it? The pylon set up. It'll eat up that nade. 100 Thieves are looking to get aggressive, and now they're charging forward. Colonel Garcia might be the next to go.
Oh, what a great first knock here for Jen just to start off this fight, but Burrows Phony take a lot of damage. They dance around the Moby shield, and 100 Thieves with a very clean fight takeover. Jen getting all those 3 knocks, Fnatic getting eliminated. The first team to go out with that Newcastle comp, like you said. Already 4 KP leading the way in this lobby. I don't know where they took Phony. Maybe put him somewhere. They gave him crazy vision, crazy mechanics, replaced his hands here while they're at it.
We can rebuild him. Sir, he only needs his appendix removed.
Slowly entering our cyberpunk era. Actually insane, man.
Team Nemesis now on the move. Another team that was able to survive that fray in the last chance qualifiers. It came down so close for them as well. They're just happy to be here, but they are moving their way through Galleria right now. You can see that altar port being set up just in case. It's been some time since they have hit a man scan, and they have Alliance shadowing from Energy Bank along the way. So they're just playing this one extra cautiously. They'll have another survey beacon scan to hit to know where they can go safely inside of Lotus.
Yeah, it's important to know in an end zone like this, even with this EMP coming out here, as Falcons are looking at the team up ahead, they're trying to see if they can gatekeep the squad that's over to their south side. It's going to be Kino Truck, it looks like here. Yukapero is going to now have to wrap around. They do have the blue Evo shield versus Falcons, who does have that purple Evo. You can see how over to the side, who takes it off angle, and one clips that one teammate here onto Cannon. Walty follows up. Hal gets taken out, but it's only one player left. Can he clutch this? The EMP from afar. Walty, though, looks like he was trying to reload. Pressing square now, forced to backtrack. The reset with the Alter Void Nexus.
S8UL here for that third party. And so unfortunately for Falcons, getting their drone taken out, not having the EMP in the fight, just slowed them down too much. If they could have connected with it, if that drone didn't get taken out, this should have been a clean wipe for them, especially with how well Falcon got that entry frag. And then the follow-up from Waltzy. Luckily, S8UL show up in time, come in for the third party, pick up an early kill for themselves, and now keep that western side of Lotus free for themselves. We're not quite sure where this next ring is going to pull into Lotus proper. Is it going to go to the north side, towards the southern side? But there are indications that it could be coming over to the slow side that S8UL were able to take away from Falcons.
There's so much space to coexist on Lotus. It's such a big POI. We were highlighting that yesterday. It takes a lot of time to loot here too, but there is that jump tower that's right next door. Even crazier when the zones end up pulling in this direction. Oh my goodness, all right, 330 shots. We're gonna beam him, QQ, having to reset. Using the shield cells instead, he had 11 of them beforehand, but we have to keep our eyes to see if Falcons will be able to reset over by Resort. There was no replicator there, so they're gonna have to go all the way down south, and then they're gonna have to take their time to rotate into that next zone. Really, the only replicator that's close on the outskirts of that zone is south of City Hall. So it's gonna be a little quiet here, and Alliance will continuously hold that south side of the next zone for themselves. So that's gonna be perhaps an inevitable fight for these teams.
Yeah, you have to be worried if you're a Falcons fan right now. Trying to go for that res over at City Hall could easily call Alliance your way. You can see right now, they are on the side of the zone that has very little congestion. And so if they see that res, this is a team that will run it down. They don't need to control that that position for themselves. As Navi ends up getting eliminated to VP. Alliance just continue to hit that scan, and it does show that the ring will be pulling a little bit down here to the south.
Looking right behind them. They're going to be wrapping around here, though, but they're not going to be engaging anytime soon. They're actually just going to poke from afar, but they're not looking to try to take these fights because a majority of these teams are over to the south side. A lot of these buildings, a lot of these floors, allowing these teams to share that space. Mythic Bin will be spawning in the next 2 seconds, though, and it's closer to Rock and TSM over by the south side of Lotus.
Yeah. In the meantime, Falcons are able to hit a man scan as they go for a replicator, but we're on board with NIP. Like they were possibly looking to get aggressive onto VP, but they don't want to give up the position inside of the building quite yet. We can see on the map there from VP, the ring will be pulling towards the eastern side of Lotus. So for the teams that we saw earlier that were established there on the west, S8UL, Alliance, Rock Esports, will all have to move forward with the next zone.
The team who called out the potential shift over to the east side was VKG, who landed in Humbert Labs, so they wrapped around the entire east side of E District. Same team Nemesis, though, inside this building. Again, just looking ahead at that raid portal was a team that was trying to engage here originally, maybe trying to see if they could get cheeky with a kidnap. Well, it's VKG that are up that hill, too, it looks like. Wolves Esports on the same building as they're trying to collapse. It was Alliance actually on the other side. There's now a replicator over to the south side of Alliance, and this is what I was worried about. With Falcons now getting the res, it's been the green light. Alliance were trying to clear their backs. They heard the res, and they're now looking on to see if they could take this fight against a bludgeoned Falcons who now have to reset.
Currently, we have the two fraggers of Alliance setting up. You can see Unlucky along with Effect setting up the crossfire at this choke. No eyes on them quite yet. Hawkus, the man, the eyes in the sky, ping down from Unlucky, telling them that someone is coming around from the right-hand side. Alliance are on the hunt for this kill, and it's Team Falcons who who are able to utilize that altar portal to get themselves up towards that northern choke instead, completely avoiding this fight with Alliance.
That altar Void Nexus is so insane. It can cover like 2 POIs if you space them out with one another, since you can put 2 down. Great placement here, works out considering he was still active. Zero being on that altar early on when they were originally trying to take this fight, grabbing back their loot. 30-30 pings from afar, as Alliance had no idea that they had that altar portal. They were looking to keep up with the delete, the evac tower. Zero now forced to wrap around here together with what looks like Hao, who also had fallen down. So they're going to be able to regroup all together as a full squad around that next corner. Feeling that pressure from uncontested in this choke is great because nobody's waiting for them to gatekeep them on the other side of this hedge.
Just ahead of them, though, they do have Gen G and 100 Thieves. I believe Gen G might just be a solo still. Yeah, they are. Never able to really recover. Unfortunately, it's going to be their Watson player remaining. The next ring pulling far east. VK Gaming. Vicky, you had mentioned it. They're kings at calling the zones, it seems like, and they're controlling that eastern choke. They know no one's coming up behind them, and so now they just need to start working on this eastern side. Start whittling away at Team Nemesis, Wolves Esports, and Sentinels. Try to alleviate some of that pressure and walk their way on in for free.
No one's got it at Mythic Bin, by the way, and the reason why that is because Rock Esports are holding the high ground with that Mythic Bin in their line of sight. Wondering if they could send somebody over there, since the 2 teammates of Rock Esports holding that high ground will be able to give suppressed fire to that one member if they're looking to try to get a third party. But it's Zero opening things up with the Arc Star, getting that knock onto Verholst and following up with the bow check in hand. Great fight. They heard the fighting happening here already before. Zero trying to get the shield swapped out. Can't get a gear on time before jumping right in. And thankfully, at the hands of his teammates, alongside the Watson Gen, they do get the reset.
Ooh, a little bit scary there for Zero. For 100 Thieves, though, they do recover Verholst's banner at the very least. Dexter's waiting on the roof for them. And I don't see a mobile respawn beacon for Jen Burton there. We'll see if Phony has one. There's plenty of time to try and get him back on in. But the difficulty is that Falcons know it's a duo above us. We can push this team at any moment. 100 Thieves now working around it. Phony does have that mobile respawn beacon.
He has it, and it's great here too, because looking at the blue perk that he chose for the Ultra, obviously getting that scan is a priority, but you also have that option to go for support if you may have needed it, and you already call out where these zones are going to pull instead. So at least they have that Moby here, because when you have that support perk, you can get that Moby out of the beacon, you can get that teammate banner, but Zero on fire. With the bow check, takes out the TiVo. He's like, where did he go? Kieran, where did you go here? Now trying to see if he can teleport all the way up, but didn't look over to his right. He gets taken out here, get knocked by McLovin, and trying to see if Walty can try to climb up. The zone closes in behind their back, and they're eventually going to have to start moving in, as Verholst looks like he's been able to get responded.
All right, for Team Falcons, though, losing out on 2, and Barely Hal might be the next one to fall. It's going to be Team Falcons going down. NIP hold down their position and stay up as a full 3.
It's 5 teams in this building alone, and if E36 make their way in through that northern building door, that would make it 6. A lot of these teams collapsing on one another. On the north building of Lotus, you have NIP, 100 Thieves, S8UL. As now Curve goes down, Bane here literally one shot, tries to turn around right after. It's only up to Bane, outnumbered, can't do much, as 100 Thieves, after getting that res onto Verholst, then gets a reset and take out NIP.
Unfortunately for NIP, they don't even get placement points. We are now at the top 15. 41 players remaining, so 2, I believe, solos running around. One of them being Alliance, and the other, Gen G, still alive in this match.
TSM with only up to 2, literally one shot gets taken out as Rival Esports now clear out this bottom floor. Rock popping up in the feed though, finding 2 knocks onto Sentinels, finishing off Loader and Carter. They get another solo now, Jamerson, in this lobby.
Yeah, Rock giving up that high ground finally because they're forced out by that ring. But they have the long-range weaponry to poke and pick up some kill points for themselves. For VP now, they have to deal with S8UL and 100 Thieves behind them on this walkthrough. Luckily for them, they get that first knock. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. VP loses out on Lou, and now Slayer, without any shields, it's going to be Verholst to win the 1v1.
Wait, Verholst right now looking on form right here with the R9 popping up as Alliance. No longer solo is able to get the res.
That was sneaky. There was just so much action happening inside of their building. No one could check outside. They're able to get that one in. Big EMP onto S8UL, and they are getting melted. Enter Force 36 picks up 2. Legacy, the only one alive, but for how long? 100 Thieves now. Charge forward with that wall. Phony peeking out. E36 cracking one member with their armor swap. Turns around. There's the knock. Phony chases for more, and he will nearly finish them off. No, it's not enough. 100 Thieves go down. Enter Force 36 still alive.
Phony can't stress yourself out right there. 1.2k damage on the board for him alone. As Rock Esports now still find more KP. Alliance effect with the red Evo shield ready to go. Wondering if they got that mythic fit, if they got a care pack. Rock stuck in this corner for right now. They hear the res right above them. It's Yanya from Team Liquid getting that knock onto VKG. We're just gonna see Rock reset here, get some loot while the action continues over to the south side of this building. It's Team Nemesis on the outside looking at Sentinels. Sentinels gonna call out Furia climbing on top of the building.
We went from 5, somehow down to 3, now to 7 teams inside or outside this building, and only VK Gaming controlling the outside. Now Alliance up as a full 3 will get the wipe onto Furia. Team Nemesis playing inside for the time being. They've got Alliance ahead of them. They've got an extra pile to throw down, but what more utility do they have?
At least Sentinels were able to steal a kill away from Alliance right there too, getting some more KP. Alliance have completely pressured out these teams from trying to take up the second floor. Rock playing off the low ground, but on the outside, but nowhere is safe. We don't have to worry about the altar. Hawkwan's got kidnapped, but he's able to get right back up. That's what I was about to say too. That's such a scary situation to be in. Literally just caught with your pants down here as Hockey slides in effect, gets knocked. It's Sentinels still, who were looking to climb up to even third party when originally Alliance were fighting that Furia fight. Unlucky being the only teammate though, alive and healthy, but there's 2 other teams down below them.
Good third party coming out here, forcing Alliance back. They're now left to 1 player remaining. Unlucky does secure himself that kill at the very least for Sentinels now as they do.
Team who is in the best spot to win this first game is VK Gaming, the least contested team, the only team on the east side of this zone. Team Nemesis, Rock, Alliance, Wolves, and Team Liquid have to now extend as Alliance get eliminated.
Alliance get knocked out, but look at that focus fire coming out onto Team Liquid. They try to utilize this balloon, but no, it's not going to be enough. It's starting to be VK Gaming picking up a lot of kills. Wolves find one more on the roof, excuse me, as Liquid end up going down. Final 3 squads remaining. VK Gaming controlling the outside. Wolves porting to the out, and Team Nemesis dropping down.
Only a matter of time until Buffet is feasted on by VK Gaming, trying to extend on this fight. Nemesis being one of the teams with remix powers being on Newcastle. Kashaya cannot get the shields off in time as VK Gaming are able to take the first game within our match point finals.
VK Gaming. Ken, we said at the beginning of the day, they're a team that are relatively silent in their success, and we're always surprised when we see their name, but no longer taking the first win here in match point finals in their usual style as well. This time around, they didn't have the same ability, Vicky, to be as proactive in that mid game, right? We saw how many teams were stacked up in that one building, and all they could do was wait for the KP to come their way in that final zone.
Literally, they were able to get away with getting 7 KP, but they also had to make sure that no other team was either going to rotate from the north side of Lotus before that second to last circle closed up, and also with the Newcastle Watson composition, it allowed them to bunker down and keep peppering a lot of these teams that were outside of these buildings with that damage. Take the first game here with 7 KP, even looking all the way down. Rock Esports were taking these fights constantly from the bottom floor side of these buildings, finding themselves in 5th place with 8 KP.
Yeah, we have to mention the APAC South representation. VK Gaming, of course, with that win, but not to be outdone. Wolves Esports will come out in 3rd place there with 7 points from placements and 2 kills. Wolves Esports in that top 3. There was an opportunity there where they tried to go for that second place finish. You saw they understood the assignment. Hey, we're not winning this one. VKG have this in the bag. Let's try and get some more KP here.
Yeah, why would they even try to take fights in these buildings when they knew that their backs were cleared? They rotated from the east side of E District, and they're also one of the few teams, if not maybe one of the only teams out here, Kinocho being the other one, that didn't run the altar. They ran the Wraith instead, so you could try to put QQ up in the line of sight to get a little aggressive, steal some KP from the teams that are already weakened, while still going right back to your squad in their safe arms.
Now, at the beginning of this map, we were talking about teams that do like to prioritize E-District, but you know what? We're going to be moving on to our next map. Right after this break, we got World's Edge for EWC mid-season playoffs.
चलो पॉज मार देते हैं, सॉरी पॉज का मतलब साउंड म्यूट कर देते हैं, कॉपीराइट का टेंशन भी नहीं होगा। सही है। मैजिक क्वीन, मैजिक किंग। फर्स्ट मैच से तो कुछ हुआ नहीं, देखते हैं अभी लास्ट 9 मैचेस बचे हैं ना, पॉइंट 9 मैचेस में हमको चाहिए एटलीस्ट कितना, कट ऑफ छोड़ो, ये तो फाइनल्स है ना, 100 प्लस ही करना पड़ेगा पॉइंट्स। अभी तो 10-10 पॉइंट मिलते हैं भाई, 10 पॉइंट मिलते हैं बस, 10 या 12 पॉइंट मिलते हैं, उसमें दिमाग खराब हो जाता है। 10-12 पॉइंट मिलते, बंदे नहीं मिलते। फास्ट पेस्ड गेम है ना पूरा, जल्दी 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 टीम्स निकल जाते हैं सब। और यहाँ हमने बीजीएमआई में खेलते रहो, होगा आज नहीं तो कल होगा। एक काम करो, तुम रो लो। Match 2 starts. Let's go.
Representatives in match point finals. And again, it can't be understated that this is what VK Gaming do. And usually it takes a few games for them to find their footing, to find that first game. Eventually they will get a win, but it's kind of scary to see them get it here first in match number 1. Now, what are they capable of?
And can they adapt too? That goes for all the teams, because we are going back to back, changing up our map rotation as we move on to game number 2 on World's Edge. We highlighted it before, but Watson is the first legend to go here from our controller lineup. And it's crazy because, you know, you talk about Watson, you talk about the amount of alters in the lobby, when alter is usually that first legend to go, second most picked legend in that first game. And in a final zone like that, it could be really scary as we look at our POI draft moving onto World's Edge.
Yeah, we saw a lot of teams kind of highly prioritize this one, and in particular it's going to be Alliance, making sure they get Skyhook West. We've gotten 2 Skyhook zones out of the 7 games that we've played, and I believe a countdown zone, a landslide zone. So a lot of this northwest side of the map has been heavily favored throughout our games so far here on LAN. The other ones that we have seen going over towards Fragments, I believe Lava Siphon was one as well. And so not so much love to the rest of the map. I believe Geyser was another one there. So we haven't quite seen the southwest side of the map yet, but that northwest zone. I mean, if we're going to talk about World's Edge here at LAN, that's where it ended, in the northwest part of the map as well at Open.
That had happened so many times, right? And we haven't seen these zones really pull far south either. Guys are just being that one zone that we saw at that point just yesterday. As we get to take a look at the arena and what's at stake. Match point finals moving on to World's Edge also means that Alliance get all of Sky West, they get Trials, nobody landing in Sky East. TSM though could quickly rotate from their POI over by Survey Camp, and if tradition allows, looking at where these zones have been pulling on World's Edge, we will continuously go over to that north side. Hopefully we get a little bit of diversity going into this map.
Yeah. The northern side of the map is actually kind of insane, right? Because we're talking about Alliance, TSM, Survey Camp, along with Falcons at Climbing Towers. We have to imagine that TSM might split a little bit, take some portions of Sky East, and also, of course, get the tunnel there for themselves. Team Nemesis playing out of Overlook, but it's VK Gaming playing out of Lava Siphon. Pretty large POI, but they might be expecting for themselves, you know, more northern pulls. Once again, they're good at still playing third ring, if not, of course, when they get priority and being able to get Godspot early on, but they also know how to move around the map to get the slow side of the zone for themselves. So this could be another case, a similar one that we had in game number 1, where they went from Humbert Labs all the way to the north side of Lotus and were able to just walk in to the God spot, but coming out from Lava Siphon could be a similar thing. The unfortunate thing for them is that they will have some aggressive teams around them, or at least a lot of teams trailing behind. So you got like Enter Force 36 at Stacks, Na'Vi at Dome, Team Liquid at Launch Site. That's a huge pileup that we see fairly often. Those 3 teams between Launch Site, Dome, and Stacks that end up getting into some engagements, which might entice VK Gaming to turn around. I don't think so, but there's always that worry. For other teams that might be looking for some more kill points though, Furia over at Big Mod, they can, of course, shift that way onto the south and get involved in the fights, but a team that does prioritize zone.
You know, talk about fans here too, looking at their teams, their favorite teams to win. I heard that Barney actually got to catch up with a TSM fan looking for a TSM victory in the crowd.
Welcome back to the main stage where we are in the thick of it here in Match Point Sunday. It's popping off. The energy in the room is incredible, and I'm joined by one of the TSM dads next to me. You are the dad to Panic. He's been so impressive. John, tell me kind of how it feels to be a parent of one of the players that's out here on the main stage, finding all of this success at such a young age.
Well, to be honest with you, it's very overwhelming. It started when, you know, he was younger, and he always kept saying, you know, how good he was at this. His brothers supported him. He was good. But it was just before we went to the LAN in New Orleans that we realized that, okay, this kid knows what he's doing. Like, we go there and they're asking for his autographs, and it's overwhelming. And then we get drawn into just the aspect of Apex, and to watch him grow, it's just become this Apex masterpiece that has been, just growing. And honestly, once we saw what he's become, we just jumped on board, and we've been enveloped into the world of Apex, and it's just been fantastic. It's been an awesome ride.
Yeah, we've seen it in New Orleans and now here in Riyadh. Like, he's been so impressive. Now, I want to ask you for some advice for the dads out there. I myself am a dad, and I feel like, growing up with kids that are in this generation of gaming and esports and all that stuff, what advice do you have for the other dads out there?
Patience. I will tell you, a lot of patience. I mean, from him down in, his room yelling, screaming, and, his live streams of me yelling over to the balcony saying, be quiet, stop screaming. It's just been one of those things that once we slowed ourselves down, and me and his mother, his parents, and understood the world that he was living in and that he was growing up, and realized this generation, this is what they're about. And it's been fantastic. And it's one of those things, the more support we've given him, it's like the more he blooms. So I would say, honestly, if they're wanting it, if it's their passion, support them, just be there.
John, thank you so much for the wise words. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to TSM today. Back to you guys.
I love esport parents, man. Shout out to the esport parents that support their kids and their hobbies and their dreams. I mean, Panic literally just graduated high school this past year. Insane. Young gun talent, and look at where he's at right now. Sitting alongside TSM, making his dreams come true. An insanely talented player. Smackdown highlighted him in the pre-show for a reason. We saw what he was able to do in the open, and literally had to compose himself. And then the day right after our finals day at the open, he just went to school. Like, just imagine popping off like that at LAN, finally having a breakout moment, and then having to be a good student right after that.
I could not imagine. I could not imagine, because I was just like playing MapleStory when I was like his age. I wasn't anywhere near competing, and that kind of pressure at that age has to take a toll on players. So I'm glad that he has that kind of support behind the familiar support. And speaking of Apex dads, of course, or excuse me, Apex dads and esports dads, we got a lot in the Apex family now. Rain now, of course, his daughter about 5 months old. Yeah,
Come on.
Party.
And of course, shout out to our mamas out there too.
Spider Tip.
Spider Tip, of course. I got to meet Hal's mom at the open.
Yeah.
Super nice family right there. Love it. Also love to see VKG, APAC South. Gamerson, you keep highlighting the region, man, because literally 5 APAC South teams coming out to play at our midseason playoffs. Truly, out of 8 teams have qualified for the final, and already BK Gaming putting their name on the board after that first game.
Yeah, we need to make them a global name. We need everyone in Apex Legends to understand the respect that VK Gaming have definitely earned, especially with their performances LAN after LAN after LAN. They have not missed the finals yet. Here, VK Gaming start things off strong with a big win over on E District. Moving on over, they're getting their first look at the ring, and I kind of want to know what their mentality is here, but you ended up manifesting it, Vicky. We are going to the northeast part of the map. We have parts of Climatizer in, a little bit of the Overlook Rocks as well, but smack dab in the middle, it's going to be Wolves Esports moving out from their position. It does look like they had a ring console for themselves. They're moving to try and control these bridges.
We haven't seen a zone like this just yet, I believe, throughout the EWC, right? We've had that Monument zone, now pulling to that northeastern side. Falcons, coincidence, we're just talking about Hal's mom now as the zone pulls up towards their POI over by Climatizer. Teams already making their rotate, like Team Nemesis who have a ring console and a survey beacon over by Overlook, as well as Wolves coming out of Epic.
Yeah, this is a little bit scary if you're a team that's trying to get into early position. I think a lot of teams want to try and play the rocks or some of the train tracks. It's Team Nemesis getting into a fight with Wolves right now. That's the first knock coming out from Nemesis. And already Team Falcons are turning around for the third party. Team Nemesis Our second place squad from game number 1 already knocked out by our third place team of Wolves Esports. Well, now fourth place team of Wolves Esports.
We saw Wolves Esports fans in the crowd earlier as we get to see the side-by-side here, giving them their energy already, taking that early fight, 3 KP to their name. Great calculation on when they needed to go, as TSM now are engaging in a fight versus Team Falcons. See TSM having that high ground advantage after they come out of survey camp. They didn't have a ring console, but they call out that one member of Falcons who was looking to get the Evo Harvester. Zero is the first to get knocked.
Yeah, Falcons did answer quickly to this threat. They were able to get back with the board, and Waltzy answers back. We'll see if Imperial Hal can stay alive. 1 HP, stuck behind the boxes for the time being, but he will get chased down. That's going to be Panic picking him up, and Waltzy will go ahead and call it on this fight. Don't know if he'll have an opportunity to try and get his players back on in, because so many teams now are rotating in to this ring.
I mean, the script writes itself. TSM now immediately engaging on Falcons, finding 2 knocks, leaving only 1 member alive for Falcons. EMP coming out. It's just Waltzy alive here in that crypto drone. But TSM understands. We were highlighting Panic. We just had the interview with his dad, who sees the success here, who sees his son popping off. Panic now, trying to find him, he runs right into Waltzy! What are the chances? I mean, he knew, he heard the drone. He had to just find him when that crypto's invincible, and he just happened to be right in front of him.
He hits him with the peekaboo. Team Falcons, unfortunately, get distracted by the fight that took place to the south, and it took them a little bit too long to respond. Even if they had the altar portals to get them back all the way to the north-hand side, you saw the positioning coming out from TSM. They had a great arc of fire set up on them, and the positional advantage. As soon as they got that knock onto Zero, they chased him down. Imperial Hal to go down. Waltzy just not in position to help out. A lot of teams moving into this zone, going all the way up towards Climatizer. They are expecting it to continue to pull up to the north-hand side. That remains to be seen, though. Some teams now rotating in from the zone. From the south side, Enter Force 36, Rock Esports, Kinotrope, all on the path to actually meet up over at Fragment fairly shortly. But for Na'Vi, they are taking their time. Again, this is a long rotation for Na'Vi. Coming out from Dome, might as well pick up every last bit of loot as you can. This is World's Edge.
Yeah, just play objective, you know, when the zone's pulling over to that north side. There is going to be a pretty big pileup, though, eventually. Fnatic, 100 Thieves, S8UL, Furia, who have already found themselves on the north side of Overlook. And with the teams that are now rotating, it's important to also highlight the objectives that are on the edge of this zone, that things that these teams could try to gatekeep other squads, since the main objective in match point format is to get to 50 points. You want to be able to frag out. Aside from getting that 12 points that you get from winning the game, there is a ring console over by Monument, a survey beacon too, closer by Fragment, another one over by No Name, as we see the replay here from TSM. So they lost camp because I don't believe there was an Evo Harvester by Climatizer. Sure, they could have gotten that information. That's why they sent Zero out, being on that ultra to get right back into position with the ultra ult that you were talking about, Jameson.
ESM going to utilize that Alter just to check their low ground, and it is clear for the time being, but they've got the Newcastle setup, so they're going to play a little bit smaller for now. It's not the same kind of defensive setup that you would have with that Watson getting banned out so early on, but you have to imagine just keeping your back clear is going to be nice for them.
I like to see that Fafafi, working into this composition that they're running with the Catalyst and the Crypto, has opted for the Alter to pick up that blue perk that is the support perk. So when you get the res, you get that passive healing as well as being able to remotely loot your teammates' death box and get their banner, as well as getting a Moby. Could come in clutch if this pulls out into the open. You could use that Moby for some extra makeshift cover. Kinotrope still on the high ground, where we saw Jen Burden get a knock from 100 Thieves with that 30-30.
Yeah, 100 Thieves, basically dead center of the zone right now. But VK Gaming should be able to recover him and get him back into the game. QQ ends up going down again. I think there was an interesting stat on the walk-in, where during were knocked the most despite, you know, their performance in the group. And there was one E-District game in particular where I remember QQ consistently just getting knocked down every 10 seconds or so. They were stuck in one of the stalls in E-District. Someone had sights on their toesies, and he was going down every few seconds. Right now. And there it is again, VK Gaming want to be able to pick up that, I don't know if I want to say it's an award.
I mean,
but
I guess that makes sense. You know, they run the Newcastle here too. Well, Phony then gets QQ again. McLovin wants to also put his name up on the kill feed, is able to get that knock onto IOI from E36. NIP looking behind him to make sure that no team walks up here on the next side of zone, because they have information. QQ, Hyperbals, now taking turns from 100 Thieves to rotate how many knocks they can at least put on the stat board.
Stat farming, liable ace. Now for Fnatic joining in, QQ will fall once more. I need to just know what's going on. What is going on with VK Gaming right now? I see them in position. I see them playing inside the truck. That's why. They're playing inside the truck right now. We don't have Watsons. And so a lot of utility can get in there, but also we have so many teams with the long range options. So QQ, he's on the verge of...
I mean, they've dropped down their Evo shields out here too. Rough out here. Rough out here. Looking up ahead too at the teams all around them being inside this truck. QQ's gonna get knocked once again. The res once again. And it's the Newcastle res back and forth as they go.